If you're running your tutoring business, you need to accept the fact that currently no one knows you. No one knows who you are. No one knows about your service. No one knows about your business. When you accept that fact, you will start to realize that you need to start building up your brand right now. My name is Adrian. I ran my tutoring business, Mind Learning, for 4 years. And one thing that I regret not doing from the start was building up my brand straight away and just ignoring the actual client facing aspect of my business. If I just built up my brand all the way from the start, it would have solved me a lot of problems that I was facing down the track in terms of time management, in terms of client acquisition, in terms of client conversion, and just general productivity within my business as well. I'm going to be breaking down in this video exactly why your brand is the bedrock of everything that you do with your business, and why you should honestly drop everything right now to build up your brand for the next 6 months, for the next 12 months, for the next 2 years even, if you want to see long-term success with your business. Now, before we go into the tutoring business landscape, let's just take a look at what makes businesses so popular. We'll talk about maybe back in the day, back in the olden times when there weren't these things such as social media and online content and those types of things, and we'll compare it to the world these days. Because if you compare the world even 10, 20, 30 years ago, the most popular businesses were the ones that were in the prime time locations. So these brick and mortar places, they were the most popular because they were in the best locations. So when they're in the best locations, more people come to them, more people see them, more people pass on the word of mouth, and therefore that brings in more clients. Bringing in more clients brings in more attention, and therefore that brings in more customers and more leads. Now that exact thing still happens these days. The only difference is that instead of these brick and mortar setups that you have for most businesses these days, there's these things such as online businesses that you might run with your tutoring business. And the equivalent thing is the attention that you get on your social media, on your Instagram, on your TikTok, and on your YouTube, whatever other social medias there are out there. Whatever it is, you need to be bringing in numbers on your social media before you expect any clients to come in at all. Now, I'm going to say something very bluntly. If you have any clients up until now that you didn't get through social media or you didn't get through your brand, that was just pure luck. You either messaged someone at the right time, you got someone in an emotional state, or you just knew someone. If that's the case with your tutoring business, you need to start building your brand or start figuring out another way of bringing in clients, because you can't always just be lucky with the amount of clients that you bring in. You can't always just happen to find someone. That'll only happen for a handful of students. And then after that, you have nothing. You have no consistent source of and consistent stream of students. That's why I'm so drastic when I say you should stop everything right now and start building up your brand, because your brand is who you are. Your brand is your backing. Your brand is the equivalent of an ideal location with a brick and mortar business. Instead of a physical location, you just have an online location on social media. Now you might be thinking, hey Adrian, why can't I just do both at the same time? Why can't I run my online business? Why can't I try and bring in clients and tutor and also build up my brand at the same time? There's one simple reason for that. It's really hard to put in your full effort into both of those things. You're going to have to balance two, along with everything else you balance in life, such as uni, such as your social life, such as your gym, such as your exercise, whatever else there is that you're balancing in your life. You need to be balancing with building up a brand and also tutoring and also building up your product or whatever else you need to do with your business. Now, do you really think that you can do it that efficiently if you're doing both of those at the same time, along with everything else in life? It's very unlikely that you can. So what I would say is that you need to be focusing on your brand first, because your brand is not only what brings attention to your business and brings in an additional audience, but it also continues to sell your audience as you make more content. I break down this concept in other videos. It'll probably be somewhere on the side of this YouTube panel, but if it doesn't show up there, then just go to my YouTube page and you can find other videos talking about leads, talking about the lead warming process. But the audience and who you have on social media is the bedrock behind all of that. By the bedrock, I just mean the pure foundation of everything. Everything comes back to your audience. Everything comes back to your social media. Think of your social media and think of your online platforms as the equivalent of a CV when you're applying for jobs. That's what the business market is. That's what the business landscape is these days. You have to be building up your presence on social media, because that is who you are. That is the proof of concept that you have for your business. I've used these examples in many other videos, but imagine all the biggest brands that have popped up really significantly in the past few years. We have Prime Energy as a really big market mover in the energy drink market. And who's attached to it. You have Logan Paul, a huge social media influencer, and you have KSI, another huge social media influencer. It's no coincidence that Prime, which I've seen a lot of videos that it's not actually a good product, is a market leader when it comes to energy drinks. It's purely because of who it's attached to and the attention that those people bring to the brand. Exactly the same thing with Kim Kardashian with her clothing line, exactly the same as Kylie Jenner with her makeup line. I'm sure there's a lot of other examples out there, but they're just the biggest ones that came to my mind when I was scripting this video. But that's what we need to be thinking about these days. It's not to say that you need to be as big as Logan Paul. It's not to say you need to be as big as Kim Kardashian in order to get a clientele, but the amount of success that they have with their product and with their business is purely proportional to the amount of attention that they have with their personalities and with their personal brand. And when I say your personal brand, it's not necessarily people knowing your business name or just people recognizing your business logo. Because when I was able to build up 12,000 followers on Instagram, 35,000 followers on TikTok, 500 subs on YouTube, etc., I'm not bragging about the statistics, I'm just putting it out there, that this happened because I was able to resonate with my audience by building up heaps of content. So when people eventually joined me as paying clients, it wasn't because they recognized my brand. It wasn't because they recognized the name Mind Learning. They don't even know what Mind Learning is, even though that's the Instagram handle, even though that's the TikTok handle. They cared about me and what I had to say because I was the face of the brand. So if I had to do everything all over again, I actually wouldn't even create a brand name. I would just have my name as the business name, like I'm doing with this YouTube account, because they resonate with personalities. They don't necessarily, when I say you build up your brand, I mean you. You are the brand. You need to be the center of all your videos. If you have a fear about putting your face up on social media, to put it bluntly, you just need to get over that. Because that's the way of the world these days. That's how people sell themselves. That's how people sell themselves in any market these days. If we're talking about the business world, if we're talking about entrepreneurship, if we're talking about coaching, if you're talking about PTing, if you're talking about the corporate world, if you're talking about any market where you need to convince someone to go with you, it's the personalities that do the trick. It's not necessarily the brand name. Of course, there's other things that are associated with it, such as testimonials, such as proof of concepts, such as testimony, whatever other things there are out there, such as price. But if someone is convinced by you, then all those other details can be ironed out. But they need to be convinced of you. If they're not convinced of you, you have all these really good testimonials, you have all these really good test scores, you've been tutoring for 4 years, you have all this experience, but they don't resonate with you, then you're not going to win business. You're not going to win over clients. You're not going to be able to convert leads or potential clients to paying clients that you can gain for years to come.